as you can tell by the fact that we're here, I can finish up the Payday 2 video in time. I'm still missing, like, 2 scenes in general, and then I just gotta figure out how to mishmash everything else together. But, I mean, I got what I believe is the hardest part done, which is just capturing the game in VR. I'm probably not going to post that one, but it was a lot easier than the last time I tried it. Anyways, hey everyone, it's Hylan. Welcome back to my methods series, where I just go into my own philosophy about storytelling and writing up your own worlds and adventures. And today's topic is going to be overarching story versus regional stories. Because making a one big story for your world is nice, but you also have to keep in mind it is a world. There are other things happening. Here we go. Where? There. The dangerous part of this fight's gonna be when it actually breaks off into multiple eaters. I want to get over. Here, just a bit of a bigger opener space over here that I made. Yep, there it is. First split. Shit. Okay, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted heavily by the fact that I have a giant-ass worm after me, you know? I am going to die. There it is. The good news, as I've most recently just realized, my Hand of Creation gives me a hell of a lot more pickup distance. Meaning I don't have to scrounge around for whatever shadow scales and such that I... Did we really only get one? Holy shit, that is nothing. Huh. Well then. Okay, yeah, regional story versus that. I'm going to be taking Skyrim as my primary example here. In Skyrim, you have the overarching story of the Dragonborn being able to fight back against Alduin and, you know, save Sovngarde. That is the primary story. You are the Dragonborn meant to fulfill the prophecy and stop the rise of the dragons again. Then you have the regional stories. Whiterun doesn't really have one, by mostly just courtesy of it being the prime, like, the central area and your first major hold that you visit. Its own, like, regional story is tied to the main story. But let us take Riften, for example. It has problems with drugs in the Thieves Guild. Its regional story mostly revolves around said guild. The College of Winterhold is the regional story for Winterhold, you know? Then we have Solitude, which has... Well, Solitude, I can't think of the example, but Markarth is, of course, surrounded by, the... What were they called? Forsworn, right. Yeah, like, their central quest line is the Forsworn. And then, of course, you have the Daedric Prince ones, which surround an aspect of how those princes would act. Taking an aspect of your world and then turning it into its own story, its own miniature story. It doesn't have to be something big and grand. It just has to sort of be able to enlighten the reader a little bit. Like, for instance, having... I think there's probably a quest in Windhelm about how, the Nords there are racist. But having a quest there to help you do that would, of course, help in explaining to the player, this is a cultural problem in the city. There is no easy way of fixing it. Okay, also, I'm trying to think of how I'm supposed to tackle this thing. That would help, wouldn't it? I'm gonna replace the tiger climbing claws. Like that. Let's go. Quick. Go, go, go. If I have water walking boots, this would be so much easier. There we go. God. Yeah, no, this thing is twisty-turny right now. Jesus. Fucking full-on turn speed, man. Okay, that's, 2 more. And no scales from either section, I see. Holy shit. It really is just... up. Okay, we have a scale. Huzzah. Shit. I think I got, like, 1 more before that one ended. The beekeeper ain't it. Okay, I need to figure out what... Hold up. Okay, also to be fair, I'm going into this with half tungsten and platinum. Whatever. Alright, so we have 2 scales, that. Yeah, I'm trying to formulate this. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't really have much else to say on that. Because, other than give more examples, like, for instance, that one story thing I was talking about, like, a while back, Nidus. It has 4 regions, and I figured up each region would have its own thing going on. The one that the story starts out in is a mixed race one, where there are dwarves, elves, humans, all of them have acclimated to living in the same society. It's a very small nation, but it's the closest thing to a utopia that exists in that world. And of course, it has the prissy bitch of fucking Aquarius to be its goddess. But yeah, it's the furthest from combat. It is the furthest from most of the troubles of the world. It is the starting zone. Then we have the Dwarven Empire in the mountains. They are philosophers, thinkers, crafters, creators. Their problem, though, is that their king is a greedy son of a bitch. The dwarven greed for, instead of knowledge, instead of gold and wealth, into knowledge and everything, makes him wants to hoard everything he can. I also passed by where I wanted to I can, actually, this might work better. If I can find a way down. There we go. There we go. Come on. The Elven Society is mostly, instead of like the grace and all that, it deals with tribalism mostly. They haven't moved past like that aspect of their society, and in doing so, they've just ended up, well, part of the reason is also because of their own curse, which elven curse shit, that's not related to the thing. But part of the problem in the region would be the, like, those who have fallen to the curse, and that would be the whole, like, thing for that region, is just dealing with that. Then comes the deserts, to the east of the Dwarven Kingdom. In said region is nothing but war between the easternmost power and the combined force of all three nations, though the northwesternmost nation, the one I talked about first, doesn't really contribute too much since, well, prissy bitch. But it's mostly war, and with that one, I honestly didn't want any character to get too involved there. There's a brief, like, time where they stay there, a bit of something from one of the enemy soldiers about them, and then mostly they retreat to go another way to get to the eastern side of the world. And then, of course, said eastern nation. It would be, honestly, with that one, I never intended them to be the primary villains. The ones in, like, basically doing a bunch of conquest, but there's a reason behind it. For the most part, the, like, clay soldiers that are golems that are used as soldiers also play the part of construction and farming, being able to actually provide for the people of that kingdom. It's not just, like, some big war machine, you know? Like, that would have been the whole aspect of that region, with, of course, bits alluding to such, like, revelations as we go through it. And now, SCP stories. Because I talked about it last time, and it would be criminal for me to not, like, try and go into it on this time. As far as SCP stories are concerned, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't the foggiest how the hell I would, like, get into formatting such a thing. Mainly just because there are so many different sites and such, you would have to be... It feels like you would have to be a very dedicated fan of, like, the SCP Foundation in order to be able to actually keep up and make everything as accurate as possible. That's honestly just me, though. It's probably best not to overthink that, if I'm being honest. That's gonna... Yep. You're gonna go that way, you're gonna go that way. There we go. Disarmed. Ow. Fuck. Alright, though, we got some desert fossil. Let's see if we can get some platinum. What time is this at? 14? Actually, I'll close this off. We had 2 attempts at the worm, and neither of them worked out really well. But to close this off, I want to loop back to something we talked about the other day. I want to talk about the characters one. The whole simplistic character thing is solely for the protagonist. Whatever your main character is, solely so, or whoever, like, the story's main focus is. So that way they have room to grow. If you want to give them, okay, we have some, like, simple, like, guy who lives in the wood. He's a hunter for himself, but mostly just keeps to his own stuff. And then some grand elven archer shows up, skilled at her stuff, and has, like, has a complex inside her where everyone looks up to her, but she doesn't feel she deserves it. And the blah, 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 blah. Like, having a character like that show up, that's fine. That's great. That would give them some dynamic. Heck, especially since she could train him to be, like, a master ranger as well or something, you know? But as far as, like, your primary main character goes, as I said in that video, keep it very simple. Give them a nice gimmick, like I said just then, someone who, a survivalist, a hunter, in that case, and then have them grow as the story goes on. Okay? That's my philosophy there. On central versus regional, mostly leaning towards explaining regional, and then tidying up my own like character creation method. Alright. I've been Highland Prism River, also known as the TheHylainKnight. I will see you guys next week, hopefully when I get that Payday 2 video finished. Alright, I'll see you guys then. I'm gonna keep saying this, you know? Goddamn.